Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another box and another offline product game review. This is Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo for the PlayStation 5. To jump right into it, this physical copy here comes with the update version 1.1.0 right on the disc, but sadly there was an update available. This update size was 126 megabytes big and will take you to version 1.6.0 since the time I make this video. Now like always, I play all my games completely offline with an unregistered account, and I didn't experience any massive game-breaking bugs or issues. The game worked perfectly fine from beginning to end, and as well, I was still fully able to beat the game with no updates. And as well, I was still unlocking trophies with my unregistered account. Now, this is my first time experiencing anything with Pipistrello, and I was very interested in it because I heard it was kind of like a Metroidvania mixed with like classic Legend of Zelda style game. So I was very, very much intrigued in checking this game out, and I'm pleasantly surprised with how well this game was. As I said, there was little to no issues. The game ran great from beginning to end. I was able to 100% complete the game. I didn't platinum it. I'm only missing like 3 trophies, and I don't usually go out of my way for trophies, but maybe later on I might go ahead and platinum it. But I'm happy with this overall performance. Now, there was some little hiccups, but nothing too big. The only one was that there is a purple gate and a map where you play as it's at a concert, and you gotta switch these gates from like purple and green, and you gotta open them and close them, and the map will show you these little gates like where they are and if they're open or closed. I did have one purple gate not being displayed on map. Now, it was the only one, and at least the one I could only find, that was not being displayed on the map. Not that big of a deal, but man, it was present. And that's all of it. That was the only notable thing I experienced throughout the experience of the game. So that's extremely nice to say. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's a classic kind of Legend of Zelda. If you're thinking something like along the lines of Super Nintendo, Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, or you've been hungry for one of those kinds of games, this should be right up your alley. Now, you play as Pipistrello, or Pippin, it's referred to, and you're basically the nephew to the owner of the Pipistrello Industry electric company. And you come back and visiting your aunt and seeing her, what she's been up to, and certain events happened, and it turns out that she has been ruining the electric company with an iron fist and basically charging a bunch of money for electricity, and a bunch of people who run businesses were not happy about that and turned her into a battery, but you as a nephew stop that by using your powers of your yo-yo, and then she gets trapped in your yo-yo, and then you gotta try to go back and gather up these batteries that she got turned in, parts of her has been turned into, and then so you can get those batteries and get back her physical form. It's really up there on the terms of story and the universe, but I really enjoyed it for that. It was nice just to see this wacky, kind of weird, kind of story kind of game. It was a nice break from those typical kind of stories. It's just this over-a-top game. Now, as I said, it's like your classic Legend of Zelda. At the beginning of the game, you're at like a kind of an open world-esque style where you're kind of like moving between sectors, and then at the beginning you get to choose which boss you want to focus on and which one you want to progress. Now, you don't have to immediately do that boss. You can progress a little bit of it, get the ability to like leave and come back and do the other boss if you want to. And as well as you eventually start unlocking more abilities that allow you to access new secret areas or secret locations, and so on and so forth. Now, the biggest thing that's going to be really different from like your classic Legend of Zelda is that the game has this thing called you enter a contract, and where these are like permanent upgrades. There's a character you'll find who gives you these contracts, and you got to pay off these contracts. Now, these contracts give you special benefits, let's say more badge points, more maximum health, or more attack power, and so on and so forth, or some other abilities. But they do give you negative effects as well, like reducing your max health, or your attack power goes down, so on and so forth. And as you build up money, she gets half of the money you get, so you have to basically try to keep getting these contracts so you can keep getting these permanent upgrades, because once you get them paid off, you can get that ability permanently, and then you just keep swapping it out. It's an interesting mechanic. I won't say it's the most engaging or interesting, but I can see what they were trying to do, where you give this half of your money and you kind of try to like pay off this contract so that way you can get the benefits of the ability without the negative effects. I get it. Other than that, it's basically your Legend of Zelda style, where you got your yo-yo, which is your attack, and eventually you learn new abilities with this yo-yo that allows you to progress new areas. And as well as that, you have these things called badges that will be able to be equipped, and they do certain kind of benefits. Think of something along like Hollow Knight, where they had these little pendants badges you can put on. and each one takes up a certain maximum points. Now you can upgrade these badges to sometimes increase its power or reduce the amount of points it takes up, so you can equip more badges. It's a mixture, a cobble of ideas from other games all put into it, and it all fits fairly well. And overall, the graphical presentation and the sprite graphics are all very good looking. I particularly really liked it. The music was generally pretty good, other than one song. I'm probably pronouncing this name completely wrong, but Gilierio's song, where it's like he's like a gambler kind of person, and when you're running around his sector area, there's this song. It kind of does this like it's annoying. Like at first it's like okay, but over time hearing that sound and it like goes away and comes back, it gets a little grating on the ears. Which is funny. He's got like one of my favorite soundtracks in his like, let's say, dungeon, if you will, because each one has their own kind of like dungeon layout, where it's kind of like Legend of Zelda, where a boss has its own dungeon. You get a special upgrade in that dungeon and allows you to progress through that dungeon. And again, you can use that ability to progress other areas. So, like I said, if you've been hungry for some classic Link to the Past, Minish Cap, or something like that, in that terms of Legend of Zelda kind of style, this should be right up your alley. Like I said, it was very charming. The characters were all really well written. The overall story and characters was different for what it was. Like I said, it was interesting to be the nephew to an evil corporation, and you have to basically try to save your aunt because she got turned into a battery, and she's part of her soul's in your yo-yo. So it's really wonky story, but I loved it for that. There's nothing really bad I can really say about the game. The only things I could really point out is that loot disappears pretty quickly. So there's like money or hearts that are hearts. They're actually like petals, like a flower petal, and these little fall that tar to the ground, and they disappear really quickly. Now, thankfully, there is a badge that it's like a magnet, and it allows you to absorb money, but it does not allow you to absorb the petals. And so basically you have to hurry up and pick up those petals or those money if you don't have the magnet, because it disappears really quickly. That's basically it. The only two things I could really say is that if you're having problems with trying to 100% complete the game, when you fully beat the game, I'm pretty sure when you beat the game, or at some point, the map is required to fill out if you want to get 100% of the game. When you beat the game, which I'm pretty sure on, and you reload your save, you can reload it just before you fought the main boss, and then if you check your map, it'll show you a percentage. This will allow you to see how much left you got to do in that sector of level to complete it, which made it really easy for me to 100% complete it, because all I had to do was just backtrack to certain levels or certain dungeons, if you will, and just fill up that 100% completion in each map. Again, it was really cool. There is an oracle as well that gives you hints of where to find all the permanent health upgrades, the permanent badge upgrades, as well as finding the badges. So they did a lot of good things to help you try to 100% complete the game, which I was really happy with. And as well as the game does include a new game plus, so when you beat it, you can run through the entire game again with all your upgrades. Again, it was just a really good time. For a small little game, I put it close to about around 40 hours into the game. And again, keep in mind, I do play games slower than most people, so then you might cut that in half for you, maybe. I do play games really slowly. I take my time with them. But, I really don't have much complaints. Like I said, the combat was good. I like fighting with the yo-yo. I like getting up the upgrades. I guess I could complain about some of the badges feeling kind of useless compared to other ones, but I've seen that so many times in other games where they'll give you a badge that's very niche or very situational, where you have another badge will give you increased maximum health or increase your attack power. Well, obviously I'm going to equip that badge because that's the most universal one. So again, it has that problem in it. Other than that, I don't know what else I could really say is bad about the game. Overall, I was just a smile on my face the entire time. The story, the music, the gameplay, all was just on point for me. And maybe I've just been hungry for some classic Legend of Zelda, where it's just a straight up, like Link to the Past. You're slapped into a situation, you got little to no resources, you're exploring, doing environmental puzzles, which I love environmental puzzles. The overall wonkiness and silliness of the story and the characters, it all just meshed really well for me, and I really enjoyed it for that. And I could, even though I've 100% complete this game, I could definitely see myself most definitely coming back and rerunning through the game again, just because I had a lot of fun with it. And on that note, I do want to point out that I love that the game has a super accessibility feature where you can alter the settings to make the game easier for you. And it's not just easy. It's like you can change how much maximum health, if you can take fall damage, and all these other stuff to make the experience a lot easier for someone. I mean, maybe not just for you. Maybe you got a kid or something like that who loves the cartooniness of it, but it's just too difficult for them. I really love accessibility features like that, and it also upsets me when I see these things are included in an indie game like this. Now, granted, I say this is indie. I don't know if this really counts as indie because it was published by PM Studios, which is, I think it was like a publisher, so I don't know if this technically counts as indie. Just because it looks like sprite graphics doesn't mean it should be labeled indie. But, it is a smaller game, and it bugs me when I see these cool features like accessibility features, and something like, let's say, Bloodborne or Dark Souls or even Elden Ring doesn't have difficulty options or accessibility features, which makes so much more money than this game does, or has a lot more developers and resources to be able to provide a more broader experience for people. So that's why I get on to a lot of those games. Like, I understand that people are purists. They like the idea of games this is the game, you have to play it this way. I've always looked at video games as board games. Yes, the developers has a preset design, and they would encourage you to try it that way, but I'm always about accessibility and about people playing games and enjoying themselves. It should always be about having fun first before anything else. And if having fun in the game means to lower the difficulty or add some accessibility features for you, whether put on God mode or not even just make it easier, if you wanted to make the game harder for yourself, you should have always that option. You should always ask for those options. That way it gives you more value and more bang for your buck for your games, whether you want it to be easier or want it to be harder. So I just gotta give huge praise for these developers. They did an amazing job about the accessibility, the gameplay, the mesh of it all. It just ran really well. The only thing I was about to complain with is that this is only available on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 5 physically. There is no PS4 version of the game, so that's really disappointing. This game should easily have a physical copy, and obviously I would imagine it's on PlayStation 4. It's just not available physically on PlayStation 4, so that's a little disappointing. I would have preferred a PS4 physical copy than a PS5 version. I'm really impressed with this game. I really enjoyed myself, and I highly recommend it if you've been hungry for some classic Legend of Zelda style game. This should be right up your alley. It was just a lot of fun, and I could definitely see myself coming back to it. I'm glad the game worked pretty much flawless to beginning and end. I didn't experience any crashes, no bugs, no hiccups, no progression issues or anything like that. The game ran great to begin and end, and I couldn't ask any more of that. So again, thank you all so much for watching. I will provide links down in the description if you're interested in a copy. In my personal opinion, this is a must pick up for your physical collecting, and I will probably eventually pick up the Switch version as well, because I enjoyed this game so much, and with Nintendo basically killing off Legend of Zelda for me, making a huge empty world, Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, where I'm more like Link to the Past or Minish Cap or something like that. And these indies or smaller studios are providing the games that I actually want to play. Not a lot of the AAA studios are not really doing much anymore for me. I enjoyed these games. This is what I want out of gaming. I don't want no big budget, huge empty world, hyper realistic graphics. I want I want Pippin on his journey to save his aunt because she got turned into a battery and she got put in a yo-yo, and your weird anamorphic creatures running around the city and everything like that. That is right up my alley, and I can't thank these developers anymore for providing that. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye-bye!